All right, welcome to Creative Collection. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What's going on? What's going on?
How's it going?
Good, good.
We
That's
good. We
good.
good.
Thank you for joining us and taking the time out
My pleasure,
to,
my pleasure.
do this with us. We are discussing how to make the world better, and and this is a special edition when we showcase artists and how their art makes the world better.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we showing, the artistic. This episode is gonna be called Artistic Journey because we felt it was necessary to show like, express more creativity. And we realized like art is a very important aspect of creativity and it's an important part of how, people express themselves. And it's a lot of artists that do great things in the world. They're great influencers. They help people therapeutically. They help people physically in the real world too. And it gets much deeper than people see. So we want to shine a light on our artists out here doing their thing. Okay, yeah, we have our special guest, Shaki, Shaki in the building. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know how to say it. So yeah, we have a special guest today, and we're gonna ask her some questions about, her journey as an artist and stuff like that. What inspired her? Just get in tune and we just tapping into the art world and stuff like that. And you know, you know how it is. So we want to let you introduce yourself. You can tell the people about yourself a little bit, what got you into art and things like that, and just your background.
Okay. Hello everybody. My name is my full name is Shakira, but everyone calls me Shaki. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I don't tell nobody. I reside in Queens, and I grew up in the Bronx, and as you all know, it's a pretty tough place. It's different. It's a different, I would say, area, and I was that person that sort of like, I don't know. It's like one of those things where you either have to fit in or you stand out. And for me, I had to figure out a way to kind of stand out because I wasn't really agreeing with a lot of the stuff that my friends at the time was doing. So, and it was a journey for me too, trying to find my purpose. I would say my purpose. But yeah, I got into art. I would say ever since I was little, I always loved art. I always loved like doodling. In my notebook during class, drawing people. I think that was like the best part. Drawing my classmates. Joking about that. And it wasn't until like the pandemic that actually made me tap into other areas of art and that I used like oil paint. I tried watercolor, I tried acrylic, but my favorite is oil paint because I'm more into doing realism, and I feel like that's where you tap into like the heart of people because that's everyone always say, "Oh, can you draw my mom? Can you draw my dog?" So oil paint for me helps me achieve a lot of those goals that I set for myself.
Is it the details with the oil paint that brought the interest to you?
Yes. So it wasn't until like when I started doing more oil paint portraits, I started paying attention more to like the faces of people, because the features tell a story, I feel, and it also that's I feel like features is what tell us apart as well. So yeah, that's exactly what I like about the oil paint.
I like that. I had saw that you were doing the oil paintings and stuff like that, and I felt like it's just something different. It's something different to try. Like not every artist is doing that, and I think like you got your
Hmm.
own lane right there, and I like that. I like that you have a customized vision for yourself.
Yes.
Um, so you said coming up was hard for you and stuff like that, and you felt like you had to show that you of your own entities, to show you got your own style, to show you got a different belief system or a different way of life. Let's say,
Hmm.
what experiences or what happened to make what happened that made you say, you know what, let me let me choose this path and let me stand on it and like let me be proud about it? Like what made you do that?
So my mother had me pretty young. She was 15 when she had me, and she didn't get to finish school, stuff like that. So it was almost like I had a chance to be different. So I was given a chance to be different and to go on and do things that my mother wasn't able to do. And everyone, well, not every, I would say everybody, but most of us go through like our little traumas when we were young, especially when we don't really have much of a good upbringing. And there was abuse and everything like that. So I had to find a way to take all of those, I guess, emotions and stuff like that and make it into something positive. Um, my mother wasn't really, I wouldn't say she wasn't there. She was there, but not as a parent. I wouldn't say she was there like, someone that would give you guidance and stuff like that. So after watching what she went through and watching, the type of environment that was put forth for us, and for my siblings, because I'm the eldest, I was like, you know what, I got to do something to get my family out of this generational curse.
Mm, I see. I see. Yeah, that
Hmm.
makes sense. That makes sense. So you felt like you had to just you felt like you had to use creativity in a sense to get through those things.
Yes, and I feel like that's what brought a lot of um, positivity into like the household. I would, draw something that made my mother happy or, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I took an interest to drawing when I was younger and stuff like that. It was definitely expressive to me. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so
Yeah.
that was just a little pre sequel, a little warm up and everything like that. I have some questions for you that I got. Um, so through your creative expression, what do you want to share with the world? Like if art was a language and it was speaking to people, what would you want your art to like specifically say to people?
So for me personally, um, I feel like my art can be whatever a person sees. Like I always tell people, like when I do my little art classes and stuff like that, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's really no rule to like, art. So if you see a piece that I created and you happen to have your own, I wouldn't say whatever you make of it and what you see, it's okay. Like, I take no offense to that. I love when a person can look at a piece that I created and say, oh, wow, this is what I take from this. And, it makes me feel a way about it, like a good way, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I feel like it is like you say, and it's kind of like it kind of like sounds like it's like it speak for itself thing. Like let it be a therapeutic moment. Like let this moment,
Exactly.
let the
Yes.
creation do what it's supposed to do for you, and let it inspire you because it's kind of no telling like how triggered you may get by it. Like what may catch you from whatever is drawn and stuff like that. So you want people to be in a natural element, which is very important too because you never know what you're gonna create. Sometimes people draw stuff, and the next thing you know, it end up being a logo. It end up being on a T-shirt. It end up
Yeah.
being some statue somewhere. It end up being a famous painting, and all types of crazy things happen with art that we just naturally just draw.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so my next question for you is, what's your favorite piece, or what's some of your favorite pieces that you drew and why?
Okay, so there was one that I recently created. I think by far had to be my most favorite, and that was the little boy. I titled it Breaking Generational Curses because, again, like I mentioned before, I felt like I broke generational curses, getting through a lot of things that I went through. And in this particular piece, you can see the kid is like, it looks like he's looking through something. And for me, I always look at like what me getting through obstacles and achieving goals. I feel like I always look at the bigger pictures. I always look at the bigger picture. I always like look out and I see, what it is that God has prepared for me, what He has, set forth for me. And that piece, when I was creating it, I was like, I normally spend about, I want to say, weeks on a piece, but this one took me a couple days to create. And every time like somebody would look at it, like the last two shows that I had, that piece got a lot of attention. And it's emotional when I talk about it because, it means a lot to me. And I wasn't willing to let it go for anything less than, my normal prices would be.
Nah, we not doing that over here. We can't do. Nah, we not taking no shorts because
I
like at the end of the
know.
day, like whatever your worth is, you gotta apply
Right.
whatever your worth is. You gotta apply that. You put time, energy into it, and I'm looking at the picture right now. Actually, it's a very nice picture, and it looks like when I was first looking at it, I was like, looking at the eyes and stuff like that, and I'm looking at everything.
Hmm.
I'm like, it's some extra detail on there.
Yes.
It's some extra detail on there that needs to be noticed, and it's just something. It's something about it that had me like, it's a nice look to it, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Thank you.
then I realized, oh wait, that's not regular paint, that's oil painting. Okay,
You're right.
I wasn't
Hmm.
familiar with oil paint, so that this was an interesting look to me for sure off the eye. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, that's I like that. I like seeing stuff like that, and I noticed you doing a lot of black art and stuff like that. So it's just like it's a good look. It's a good look.
Thank you.
What got you doing? Well, I mean, I know what got you doing that, the black art and stuff like that. But I see that
Hmm.
you invested time into it. I also
Hmm.
noticed you did something for this lady that had cancer, right?
My coworker and his mom. So the backstory behind all of that is like, well, he was trying to get me to do this painting for a while, and I'll be honest. In the beginning, I turned it down because it wasn't a good quality photo, and I was still trying to, kind of find my niche. I guess as I find my niche, and I was like, I don't really want to, because it's hard trying to pinpoint features on a person, especially if you don't know them. And I was like, already, I'm like, okay, she's a cancer patient. It's already a touchy subject. I don't want to paint, you know, I don't want to paint her or attempt to paint her and it doesn't look like her. And then, it's a whole big thing. So, in the beginning, I was like, no, I can't, do it. And then, I did a painting of like another coworker's parents and he came back to me. He's like, yo, please, you got to try for me because I guess, that's the only photo that he has with his mother, like throughout his whole life, which was crazy to me. I really can't. But he was saying like their relationship wasn't the best, and like I guess when he was younger. So the only photo they had together, like sentimental photo they had together, was that photo. So he's like, if you can try to paint us or paint that photo, recreate that photo, and I can get it to her, I would really appreciate it. So at that point, I was like, I took a course. I took a quick little one-on-one with this other artist who I admire her work, and I'm like, girl, you gotta help me because I'm trying to like, if this person, if it means so much to this person, then I really have to work on it. And I feel like sometimes I feel like that's my like God telling me, listen, I need you. This is how you bring joy into people's life and their heart with art, So if I told him no the first time and he came back around, I was like, you know what? If this is gonna bring happiness to this lady and that's what she needs in this time of her life, then I'm gonna do that. And he loved it. She loved it. I'm glad I did it.
So like sometimes we are our worst critic, and I understand like you want to make sure that what you're doing is good quality and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
sometimes you gotta go through the process creatively and just do it and just okay if it comes out bad after, okay
Right.
then I'll let you know. Look, I don't really like this or whatever, but you're putting time into it. But at the end of the day, it's
Hmm.
a learning lesson depending on the situation, so you don't want to disregard it. I
Right.
think he came by twice for a reason. Sometimes when things when you get notified about something 2 times, sometimes it's important. It's a special thing behind it. And I think like even though the quality of the picture wasn't like the way you wanted it to be, it wasn't as good, it wasn't as clear as you wanted it to be and stuff like that. That was just a challenge for you. You know, it was a special time. I think it was
Right.
important that you did that picture, especially knowing that this person had cancer and stuff like that.
Right.
You specifically called out for you. It was clearly a purpose behind it. So
Yeah.
but that's good though, and I think this is why we covering this because, like, I've been through things where I'm in the music world and stuff like that, but I've been through things with artists and seeing artists and stuff like that, and I know like how important a role art plays in the world. Like I've seen it, like art in hospitals and stuff like that, for those times where people with patients are sick and they recovering and they spending 5 months in the hospital and they draw all they got is to draw art. They don't have nothing else to do. They
Right.
family and they draw some art. So art is very important.
Yes.
Yeah, so we getting into the next question here. Okay, well, this question is basically what we already spoke about and everything like that. But you can expound on it if you feel. Do you feel like you have anything more to share about some of the melanated artwork that you've been working on? Like, do you have any like specific things you want to talk about it? Like, I see you did the Black Panther, and I see you did some other people. You did like Tupac and stuff like that. Like, do you want to talk about like what inspired you to do those pictures, or any extra background on it? Because I know the basics of why you did those things, but you may have something you want to share about it.
Right. To be honest with you guys, I feel like it's so much easier for me to like I mean I find joy in mixing like different tones, like skin tones, especially our beautiful black skin. And I've had instances where like I had to like paint a Caucasian person and I had a hard time, it's like, and it's not, and people assume that with who don't really know much about art, like in terms of like what using what is it, not watercolor, but like different types of colors, that is just one color, but it's really you mixing multiple colors to get that one shade. So I just find joy in mixing like browns and different reds and yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not. It's not something that you could just. Oh, I'm just gonna paint the brown, and then it's gonna. Art takes a lot of. It's a lot of intricate details with art where you have to go over this little piece. The cheek outline may be a little bit darker on that side, and the other side of the cheek might be brighter, and so many different features and stuff like that. And I know it's completely different with this oil painting. Do you have like any like special like things you do with the oil painting, like stuff that you give out? Like I know, like stuff that you make with the oil paintings because I know it's something so different. It's new to me, honestly. I haven't heard about the oil painting.
It's I found like oil paint has so many different ways that you can like work with it. So when I first started painting, there's this thing called linseed oil, which a lot of people use to kind of break down the pigment inside the oil paint, because obviously like oil paint is oil paint. It's made up of oil and different like particles of like different rocks and stuff like that, like stones and stuff that you find outside. So people use different types of oils to kind of like dilute it, I guess. So I used to use different like oils to kind of break it down and like make it smoother. And some people use it too to kind of slow down the drying process. Like if they plan on going back in and like fixing something up or adding something, they'll use that. Now I don't use any type of oils. I just go straight in with the ready-made like oil paint. And with this, I feel like it gives more volume to the painting because, as you know, like detailing is a must when you're working with realism, because everyone's face has different shading, coloring. So when you use the oil paint itself, I feel like it gives more volume. So like going back to like the Tupac painting, if you look at the face, it's not just one color, and I only used the oil paint. So yeah, I feel like it's a great process. It's a great process.
It just seems like I said, it's just giving it more details to me. I'm looking at the details, it's giving it more details. So you said you also teach too, or you taking classes and you teaching classes?
So okay, so funny thing about that, right? When because to be honest, in the beginning, I had really no interest in teaching classes because, I have like that. I'm very social and outgoing, but I do get nervous. I feel like everybody does, but me personally, like, I feel like just being the center of attention is not really my thing. But I was at the Black Girl Art Show, and I happened to be like, just talking to like one of my friends, and this lady came around and she saw my last name. So I probably never mentioned in the beginning, but my mom is Puerto Rican. So my mom's from Puerto Rico and my dad is Jamaican. He's from Kingston, Jamaica. And so I have my mother's last name, and she noticed my last name, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you of Latin descent?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you speak Spanish?" I'm like, "I can speak the Puerto Rican Bronx Spanish, but I can't like give like a."
No,
a
I'm done. I'm done.
like I can't give like a speech in proper Spanish. But
I'm
she's like,
done.
"Listen, it's fine, if you can
She said I
get
speak Bronx.
yeah, Bronx Spanish." But she's like, if you can, you know, teach a art class for Spanish Heritage Month, that would be great because I'm looking for artists
I mean,
of Latin descent.
honestly,
Mm-hmm.
if you could speak, if you could speak that, if you could speak the broken Spanish, like, then you can speak the full, like, you could do it. Like, if you
Right,
can
right.
speak no Spanish, that's when it's like, all right, now I'm just starting from scratch. Like, you got half of what you need. Like,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. She's like, great. So, later on, I'm just like, damn, did I really like agree to do this? Like, what if they got me up there giving like, a speech? I just already feel crazy about being like in the middle of class and talking. She was like, it's 50 people. So I'm like, 50 people? What? Like, I've never taught a class of that size. I was like, oh no.
yeah.
But, it turned out that it was a great turnout. I'm glad I agreed to do it because I got invited to do another class, but it was like of 80 people now. So I was just like, oh my God. But I feel like now it's something that I would consider in the future. So
I mean, yeah, why not? At the end of the day, like, as you grow, you're gonna get to different plateaus. You don't want to, oh, I'm here and I'm staying here. You grow and you get to different
right.
plateaus. That's the whole point. Is each one teach one. You start to get better and better. You start to progress,
Mm-hmm.
and now you got to pass it up. You got to now you got to get to the next level too as well while you do that. So
Yes, I agree.
definitely, definitely. So last week we caught up with Amy from Allure Studios and everything like that. And I see like that you are you familiar with that? 'Cause I see you follow her.
Yeah. So I honestly, I can't tell you how we came like in contact, but I know she has like an art studio, and I was like anxious. Oh, actually, this is how now I remember. There was a piece that I think she did like an art piece, and she put it on merch, like on a sweater, on a sweatshirt, and I loved it. It's like of like I think it was like of the map of Africa, like the I'm not the continent, like the shape of the continent, right? And I was like, I love it, and it was like of different colors, and I was like, I gotta get it. So I had ordered it, and then I followed her Instagram, and then from there I realized that she was like hosting different like art classes. But I have yet to get around to one of them, but I definitely want to go. That's the thing. Like I full time employee, a mom. It's just finding time. Even I feel like I've kind of lapsed in my art too because I've been so busy like taking care of personal things. But now after I'm be honest with you, after having this like opportunity to speak on this podcast, it's like kind of a reminder for me to like sometimes you got to slow down and take don't take things for granted and appreciate your gifts.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I just think it's just interesting that like y'all came together and from the internet. It's just the way the internet works. Like
Right.
it just got people coming together and stuff like that. And I mean maybe we should all, because we interested in doing something there. Mixing some music with some art and just put something nice together, like a listening slash painting party or something like that. Maybe we could get together and just
Oh yeah,
create a
definitely.
nice vibe, because we know how to set a nice vibe. We out here in Queens, and we want to, and our point in doing this is to put the light on something uplifting. That's the whole point of what we're doing right now.
Right.
It's just to put the
Right.
light, because things that make the world better don't always have to be something crazy. Sometimes it could just be like, yo, we
Right.
just being creative and we just expressing ourselves and we just bring like the right energy.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. Yeah, because I mean, just to piggyback off what you said too, when I did the second, when I did the first art class, it was teachers, right? So they're educators, and a lot of them didn't really like, never really painted before, like they didn't really tap into like their artistic, so it was kind of like in the beginning, they were like, I don't know how to paint. Oh, I never did this before. I'm like, oh my God, this is so intimidating. And I had brought that painting of the little boy and I had it in the front. And they're like, listen, I'm looking at this and I don't know if I'm going to. And I'm like, no, I'm not, expecting y'all to do this on your first try. And I'm like, there's no, like I said, there's no rules to it. And they were like, okay. But you could see the vibe change, like from the beginning to the end. Once we were done, like I was looking around, everyone's laughing, they're smiling, they're showing each other their pieces. And then at the end, they're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to Target and get me some paint because this is therapeutic. And I'm like, it really is. Because I don't smoke or drink. Like, no offense to anybody that smoke or drink, but I don't smoke or drink. So when I get home from work, I just like I let it off on a canvas, like because that's just my way of But it could be anybody. It could be therapeutic for anybody. Like you said, patients in a hospital. That's all they have. It. I feel like it's a good way to bring people together.
Right. All right. Well, I'm here. I've been here talking with you by myself, but my other two hosts, they weren't able to be here at this moment and everything like that. So it really was just me mainly. They just helped me set up the floor and stuff like that. I just wanted to let you know. So we got royalty in here, and Squeaky's going in and out because she got something going on. But yeah, like I think it's really, back to what you said. I think it's really cool. Like it's really good. Like you said, you don't smoke, you don't drink, and stuff like that. And I think it's cool, and that's another reason why we're doing this, because it's like you can do creative things besides doing those things. At least sometimes you can say, let me not do
Right.
my vice for today. Let me do something positive for today. Or let me not smoke
Hmm.
today. Let me just draw today. Like you can actually try that out. Like you can actually try that out. Some people it may not work for. Some people it may work for. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's what it's really all about. So yeah.
Did we get into why she chose not to drink or smoke?
I
How
mean,
she actually
no,
maintained that?
you can ask her that for sure. You can ask her that. This is royalty here now. He has something going on, running around.
Okay. I wrote to.
So yeah, my question is like, what made you like not drink or smoke, and also like how do you maintain that? Like how do you not get caught up in the peer pressure? Because let's be honest, between the pandemic and just regular life in general, life can be
Right.
pretty stressful.
Okay. So, all right. So, like, as I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but my mother, I was born and raised in the Bronx, right? My mother had me when she was 15. She smoked weed, she drank, and we were on welfare. We were on Section 8, and I just wasn't like digging the lifestyle. And not saying that people who smoke or drink are on welfare, But me growing up, I just like growing up in that environment. My father also like smoked and drank occasionally. I don't know. I just used to always be like, you know what? If I do want to make something different of myself, and I have goals to achieve, I felt like I had to like, when you're in this environment and you're thinking that this is what influences, your parents to make bad decisions. And you're just like, if this is what influences them to make bad decisions, then I want no parts of it. And it's so crazy. And nobody, like, not nobody, but some people just can't seem to believe me when I say I never tried weed before or cigarettes or anything like that. I was just always like, it was just never my thing. And as far as alcohol, I've tried it one time and I got into like a fight. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, this is not for me. So from there, I was like, I set a goal for myself. And I was like, in order for me to be able to achieve these goals and not be under any type of negative influence, I want to be able to tell myself I did this without any negative influence, and nothing hindered me from achieving those goals. And, honestly, there is a lot of peer pressure. There was, even to this day. But growing up, I didn't really go to parties. Like, even today, I don't really party. I've never been to a club before. Yeah, that's so crazy. I'm 29 years old. I've never been to a club. But I just chose to, like, be in different places. Anywhere that I knew, like, there's going to be alcohol there's going to be smoking there, I would not go. Today, like, it is so funny because I got a call the other day from my friend, and he was like, "Hey, are you going to the holiday party, like job?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Because I know you don't drink." So he's already making me like his designated driver, and I'm just like, you know what? But yeah, it was a challenge trying to stay away from that. But I'm glad to say, 29 years old and still, able to still be sober.
29 years old and never been in the club. You see why you can't.
This sounds like a great, like, my real question is, are you single? It sounds like you're going to make a great wife. Like, what's going on? What's really good?
Find her, though. This is why you can't find her, because she's not in the club.
Yeah, I'm not in the club.
I'm done.
So, what do you do to stimulate your mind?
I paint shit. That's what I tell people. I always paint. I'm always trying to find ways to stay creative. And then also because I have a career. I work as a law enforcement. I'm a law enforcement officer, but in the airport, nobody really knows what we do because we're like low key. Unless you travel, you're not gonna see us. We always get confused with TSA. But with
you're the people them that walk around with the guns and shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when I signed up for TSA, I thought I was going to be doing that. And it's like, no, you're going to be doing the luggage and all that. The angry people that you see when you're traveling.
Yeah, I'm not one of them angry people. I could be an angry person, but only if you come off as angry, then reciprocate that energy. But when I'm not doing that, I mean, that was always my dream job. I don't know why. I just like the airport. It's a long story, but the airport was always my dream job, and I feel like I said, growing up in the community that I did, I felt like because I started volunteering at the airport when I was 15 years old. So like I was away from the Bronx. Like anywhere that can get me away, anything that could get me away from the Bronx, I took it. So I literally spent my whole life in that airport, and it's like
that's perfectly understandable. I can understand why you want to escape that place.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was definitely a way for me to just stay motivated, stay influenced, and I was like, you know what? If I gotta make money, I gotta take this route. I took that route, and I'm glad I did. But when I'm not doing that, I'm home painting. When I'm not doing that, I'm a mom. It's a way to stay balanced because people at work tell me all the time, like, "Oh, you're so talented. Why are you here?" Like, what? It pays the bills. That's why I'm here. And I feel like it's pretty cool to say, like, yeah, I'm a law enforcement officer, but I'm also an artist, and I'm also a mother. I wear different hats. I just like to have that day. Like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from being an artist. So.
You said you work in the airport and you always been interested in the airport. You've been infatuated with it. Have you ever thought about flying a plane?
Yeah, so it's funny that you brought that up. So when I was younger, I did want to be a pilot. I did take a flight lesson. I was about 14 years old, and I was like, I want to take this flight lesson, but I can't afford it. My father, so my father got deported, right? So before he got deported, he actually paid for my flight lesson. So I was like, Dad, I want to do this thing. I feel like it's going to open up doors for me, and I would know for sure if this is really what I want to do. And he was like, okay. So he scraped up his little money. And I think it was about like $100, maybe $80 to $100 an hour, or something like that. So he gave me the $100, and I went and I did the flight lesson. And I was like, okay, this is great, but it's expensive, and I'm not going to be able to pay for it. I was only 14 at the time. I think I worked summer youth, so I was like, this is not going to pay for that. And it's only summer youth, it's a job only for the summer. So I definitely can't put all my eggs in one basket. And I tried to call my dad to tell him how it went. Couldn't get a hold of him. That's how I found out later on that, ICE came and got him. It's a long story. But then later on, I was like, since I can't afford to be a pilot, I looked into being a flight attendant, and I wasn't old enough because most airlines want you to be 21 years old or older because you're going to be around alcohol or serving alcohol. And so from there, that's when I started volunteering. I found this organization online that allowed me to volunteer like 1 to 2 days out of the week. And until I turned 18 years old, I applied for like a paid position there. And then from there, I elevated, to different departments. I pushed wheelchairs at the airport before. I did ticketing with American before. It was just like, and I feel like that environment, I met great people there. I met mother figures there, father figures there, older brother figures. And, that it brought positivity into my life. So that's why, like, that will always be my home, so yeah, that's why I chose airport life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
At 14 years old, you was
Yep.
making a lot of grown woman decisions, honestly, because I wasn't 14 years. I mean, I was reading a lot when I was like, 16, 15, but I wasn't thinking about flying no plane.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I feel like I always say, I always look back today and I say everything happens for a reason. Because when I was at that age, I had wrote a blog. I think I did a video or I wrote a blog about this, but I was talking about how, like, I asked my cousin who's around the same age as me, and I told him one day, I was like, are you up for like just going to the airport, like just to like visit it? And he was like, all right, let's do it. But we never made it there. But I don't know what was like, something was drawing me there, And from there, honestly, I wasn't taking my art serious until I met some friends there that pushed me to like really dive into they're like, yo, you gotta really make something of this. And that's when I started to like rebrand my art name and start taking courses to perfect my craft.
Do you have anything anything else like creatively like you're interested in?
I feel like it comes and goes. Some days, I really want to get my like clothes and stuff like that. And I feel like once you can go out and kind of showcase, my work in different ways, I feel like that definitely is something that I want to work on.
Yeah, it's possible.
So you said you have a brand, and we like to make sure that we share your brand as well. Image-wise, we like to share the brand, and we also like to speak about it. So what's the name of your brand? And just expound on like what your brand represents and what it's about.
Okay, so my art name, Chickcasso, I got the name from a good friend. So, y'all know who Picasso is. He was like one of those well-known artists. And then obviously per chick. I'm a female. So, he was like, hey, why don't you call yourself Chickcasso? And I was like, eh. At the beginning, I was like, what? Like, that's kind of like, eh. But then I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. It's different. Nobody really have it. And, from there, I was like, I started, I opened up my first LLC and I called it Chickcasso. I did my first mural for Macy's in partnership with Make-A-Wish Foundation. And, my name, Chickcasso, that was like, the name that was put out there. It's a lot of opportunities that I was able to do with this name because nobody have it and it's just so unique. And I feel like that's,
I ain't even gonna lie. It's always that friend that always give you that name, like that get you hyper, like. Always that friend that's there that's like, yo, have this name, and then it's like, take it.
Yeah, like,
everybody asking where you got it from.
Yeah, then it it takes off,
Yep.
So do you have like any advice for, somebody that's younger than you or just even the same age that's from your environment that wants to make it out?
That's a good question. I'll continue it for you. Do you have any advice for the young people that want to make it out, situations that are similar to yours? Because I don't know where you currently live right now or not, but you prove that it's a mental thing, it's a mental capability that it takes to get out of somewhere even though you're there. You understand what I'm saying? So share that mindset, and also after that, share how art, once again in a different way, share how art helped provide that for you, the floor for you to do that.
Okay. So I currently live in Rosedale, Queens. I've been here for like 9 years. But advice that I would give to like my youth, my younger people out there, if you find yourself in like a position that like similar to mine, I would say try to, join different groups or, get into something that separates you from, what they want you to be. And when I say what they want you to be, and I mean like, once you're like in a environment like that, it's like you become a number. I've learned that you become a number, and nobody's really expecting you to like be anything greater than that. So I would say, and that's why I always like, you either you either stand out or you fit in, and I feel like standing out is very important because that's what would be your gift to get you out of the situation you're in. And sometimes it may take you being around different people to realize the gift that you have. And it took me to get out of, to get around different people to sort of show, because I mean, back then art wasn't really like, people were just like, oh, you can draw, like me too. And they like make fun of it, like, oh, I can do a stick figure, stuff like that. That's everyone's joke. I can already draw a stick figure. And I'm just like, all right, come up with a new joke. But, it's like, I honestly would say, and volunteer, like if it comes down to like, you can't find a job, like a paid job, volunteer. Volunteer is like, would get you places, because that's what I started doing. I started volunteering, and that helped me network with different people, and that kept me in the loop for different opportunities, because people are just like, oh, I just want to have a 6-figure job. Like that, they want their first job to be a 6-figure job, not knowing like, you gotta start from the bottom. Sometimes you don't have to, some people don't do that, but when you're someone like me that came from, somewhere I came from, you gotta like really elevate yourself and don't feel sorry for yourself. I've had to learn that the hard way. Don't keep saying like, oh, I can't do it because, I don't have the money, or I grew up in this area or whatever. You really gotta like believe that you can and push yourself. As far as like having like the gift, like it may not be art. You may know how to, produce music, or, get yourself a little keyboard and start doing your little sessions, charge, $5 a session or something like that. There might be something out there that can get you far, but you got to keep believing, and you got to know that you can do it.
Right.
So I got a question. Is it life imitating art or is it art imitating life?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is it life imitating art or is it art imitating life?
Is it life imitating art or art imitating life? That's a great question. Um, I,
And I'm just not I mean like as far as art like all across the board like painting, music, movies, etc.
right. So if you really want to like be technical, I feel like like art can be imitating life, but life could also be imitating art, because if you look around, like trees, nature, and everything, that's art to me. Like I'll look at that and I'll be like, wow, like this is amazing, and I'm like, I gotta paint this. Like every little thing, like I could be in the middle of a conversation with a coworker, and I'll see like, you know, something like, oh, I gotta paint it, and they're like, yo, you good? I can paint it. So
I mean
it
no, but
can,
that's what it is. It's kind of
right,
like
right,
seeing a beautiful sunset.
exactly. And you'd be like, wow, I gotta paint it. And some people would look at that and be like, oh, what made him paint it? But really, it's there. It's something that was there already, right? That's like you wake up, you see sunset, and you recreate.
Yeah,
Solid
it's
answer. I
all
like that.
amazing. So I definitely like how you that's specifically why we had to ask you that question about the mindset, because as soon as you said your background, I realized you have a certain mindset that a lot of people it could change their life just by applying that mindset. You took it and put it into your art, which is a whole other part of the story as
Mm-hmm.
well. But
Exactly.
that mindset is definitely something people's going to take from some of these questions you're answering.
Right.
So so we here now. We at that time
Right.
mark, and we had actually asked you all the questions we had and everything like that. We got what we did just to make sure that people get a good introduction
Okay.
on who you are and what you do and stuff like that. Royalty, you got anything else you want to share or ask before we like close it out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to know, were there any books that you read that really like helped change your mindset?
So the first book is Balance by Torrey Roberts. He talked about like positioning yourself to do all things well. Because normally people would say like, if you ask somebody like, what's balance to you, balance in your life, they would say, oh, balance is basically giving a little to this, giving a little to that, and a little bit to that. And Torrey talks about ways that you can um, have a balance, but kind of you're not dividing yourself, because that's not what makes you whole, right? So I think it's a pretty cool concept, even though I feel like it's kind of hard to say like I'm gonna be myself, because that's what it is. He wants you to be yourself while you're devoting your time to different aspects of your life. So I feel like in order to stay true to myself and what I believe in, I have to, keep balance in my life. And by that is staying whole.
Okay, solid.
All right, so it was great having you up for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know we time sensitive and everything like that. We want to make sure we good because we all got things going on. I'm sure you're pretty busy. Um, yeah, so this is Creative Collection here, and we
Mm-hmm.
about to sign out. This is an artistic journey. We bring artists up to speak about their journey as artists, what inspires them, and what can help inspire others, and just about their background and about their growth and just where they started and where they're at. Some of these people are teaching, and she has been teaching, and she also has been learning as well as teaching. So it's just a very diverse, dynamic situation. This background that was expressed was very good because, like I said, people that are coming from inner cities, like us, we in New York City, we in Queens too as well. Coming from these backgrounds, especially a place like the Bronx, it's good to get, for anybody that
Mm-hmm.
hears this, it's good for them to see mindset that you molded out of being from that environment. Because I'm not even sure I would have been able to mold my mindset so quickly like that. At 16 years old, I was running around like a fool. So,
I mean, I did have my moments. I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
all right, y'all. So we signing out.